Dinosaurs ruled the Earth for over 165 million years. However, there were many animals that lived before, during, and after that were just as formidable. We've picked 72 that dominate the others. In this show, we will talk about these dangerous animals, including when they lived, what they ate, their weaponry, and how humans would fare if these creatures were still alive. From the largest venomous animal of all time, to birds that could take out animals 30 times their weight, to a pterosaur that could kill a T-Rex, this is 72 Dangerous Animals, Prehistory. The largest pteranodons had a wingspan of 23 feet and weighed up to 110 pounds. They lived in the late Cretaceous period in North America 90 to 70 million years ago.
Pteranodon was a pterosaur, a group of extinct flying reptiles, and lived during the late Cretaceous period around 90 to 70 million years ago. They were characterized by their long, pointed, toothless beaks and large backward-sweeping crests on their skulls. Their crests varied heavily among individuals, with adult females and juveniles having small crests, and adult males having very large crests. The only hypothesis that holds up for its purpose is that Pteranodon's crest was used as a mating display. Pteranodon sternbergi and Pteranodon longiceps, the only valid species, both reached similar sizes. However, longiceps had a backwards pointing crest, while sternbergi had a crest that pointed backwards and up. Pteranodons had a wingspan of up to 23 feet, making them some of the largest flying animals to have ever lived. While males were much larger, females only had a wingspan of around 12 feet. Pteranodon is believed to have been a skilled glider and may have been able to fly long distances without flapping its wings, just like the modern albatross. They had a unique skeletal structure adapted for flight, with elongated fourth fingers that supported the wing membrane. They likely fed on fish, which they caught while in flight, soaring over the ocean. It is hypothesized that Pteranodon would dive into the water to catch fish, like a modern gannet, and was even capable of swimming. The first Pteranodon skull was discovered in Kansas in 1876. Pteranodon is the most well-known pterosaur, and over 1,200 skeletons have been found, more than that of any other pterosaur. Pteranodon is assumed to have been polygynous, as there is a 2-to-1 ratio of females to males. While Pteranodon was a piscivore, its long, pointy beak has been depicted in movies and shows, such as Jurassic World and Primeval, as a weapon of human-killing destruction. Its beak was around 3 feet long, and could have been easily used to impale objects and prey, like modern herons. A human could have been tragically ended by Pteranodon's skull.
Pteranodon lands in first place for now, but can a giant-toothed whale with advanced sonic weaponry overtake it for number 1? Livyatan reached a maximum length of 60 feet long and weighed up to 125,000 pounds. It lived 9.9 to 5 million years ago in South America, Africa, and Australia.
Livyatan melvillei, named after the biblical sea monster Leviathan, and the author of Moby Dick, Herman Melville, was the largest of the extinct macroraptorial sperm whales. At up to 60 feet long, Leviathan ate anything it wanted, including whales, sharks, and seals. Leviathan is nicknamed the whale-eating whale. It made orcas look like absolute jokes in its time and era. It was the apex predator of its habitat and had the largest teeth of any animal, excluding tusks, reaching up to 15 inches long. Its teeth also interlocked when it bit down. Unlike the modern sperm whale, though, Leviathan had teeth on its top and bottom jaw. Added to its power, Leviathan had extremely strong echolocation, possibly reaching 230 decibels like the modern sperm whale. This echolocation was easily strong enough to kill a human with a single blast, or stun something the size of a megalodon momentarily, giving it a chance to take out the monster shark. Leviathan's spermatocyte organ evolved independently from other raptorial sperm whales, and Leviathan was also much larger than the other macroraptorials. While Leviathan was smaller than the very largest of the modern sperm whales, it had a larger bite and had the largest bite of any tetrapod. Leviathan's skull was a massive 10 feet long. However, modern sperm whales can use their heads as battering rams to destroy whaling ships. It's very likely that, just like its posterity, Leviathan may have used its head to smash into its prey or competitors. It is worth noting that while Leviathan and Megalodon lived at the same time, it is very unlikely that they would attack each other, as they are both apex predators that would avoid each other than wasting energy and risking death in a fight. However, it is still reasonable to assume that fights did happen occasionally, since they occupied the same habitat and ate the same foods, resulting in a niche competition. It isn't confirmed, but it is reasonable to assume that Leviathan could have lived in groups, like modern sperm whales. A typical sperm whale pod consists of 15 to 20 females and calves, and occasionally a single male. Sometimes, males also form pods of their own. These are called coalitions. A pod of leviathans would be absolutely terrifying to see. They could repeatedly smash their heads into Megalodon trying to kill their babies, cause massive amounts of damage to the shark. A blow from its tail could also prove fatal to humans. It's assumed that Leviathan would have had good vision as well. Leviathan populations went extinct as baleen whales increase in size and decrease in diversity.
Leviathan slams its way into first place, pushing Pteranodon to number 2. Up next, a giant ape capable of lifting 3.5 tons. Gigantopithecus was up to 10 feet tall when standing upright, and it weighed up to 1,000 pounds. It lived 2 million years ago to 350,000 years ago in China.
Paleontologist Gustav Heinrich Ralph von Königswald visited an apothecary shop in Hong Kong in 1935 and discovered a gigantic fossilized molar tooth. He named it Gigantopithecus. Since then, over 1,300 teeth have been found, along with some lower jaw fragments. It turns out these teeth were being used in traditional Chinese medicine. While most size comparisons depict Gigantopithecus as being bipedal, this is just to show its true size. It actually walked on all fours like modern orangutans. Now, we know this because of the unique shape of these lower jaw fragments previously mentioned. So, in mammals, especially the great apes, we see the trachea extends out into roughly where the tongue muscle begins. Now, for a quadruped, this jaw arrangement should be a little bit longer and wide than narrow, which is the case for this animal. This is good evidence to support that Gigantopithecus was, in fact, primarily a quadruped. Additionally to this animal was strictly an herbivore. However, it would have been an extremely bad idea to try and make one upset. It could lift up to 7,000 pounds. It would have been strong enough to easily rip your arm out of its socket. Gigantopithecus would have literally been able to pull humans apart.
Gigantopithecus may have a lot of strength, but it isn't even close to beating Leviathan for top spot. It slides into number 2, pushing Pteranodon to number 3. But how does this ape compare to the most unique and unusual crocodile? Kaprosuchus grew up to 20 feet long and weighed up to 2,000 pounds. It lived 100 to 94 million years ago in Africa. The boar crocodile had 3 sets of massive tusks protruding from its jaws, giving it its name. These extra large teeth fit in notches in the skull, allowing it to close its mouth. Kaprosuchus also had horns protruding from the back of its skull. It is assumed to be largely terrestrial, however did spend some time in the water. Kaprosuchus had a heavily armored snout that could be used as a battering ram. Adding to its scariness, it had binocular vision like humans and T-Rex, giving it depth perception, unlike other crocodilomorphs. It also had unusually long legs for a crocodile and walked upright, instead of crawling across the ground like a modern crocodile. Kaprosuchus would have used its tusks to impale prey and prevent it from struggling. Kaprosuchus isn't as powerful as Leviathan or Gigantopithecus. It takes 3rd place, pushing Pteranodon to number 4. Leviathan still reigns strong in 1st place. Up next, a massive cephalopod with a large bone-crushing beak. Cameroceras had a maximum length of 36 feet long and weighed up to 2,000 pounds. It lived 470 to 425 million years ago in North America, Europe, and China.
Cameroceras had long, straight shells that could grow up to several meters in length, making them some of the largest predators of their time. Cameroceras likely fed on smaller cephalopods, trilobites, and other invertebrates, and it is believed to have been an ambush predator that hunted on the seafloor. It would have been harder for the largest Cameroceras to move around, and it's likely that they just sat in the same position, waiting for food to wander by. Its long, straight shell was divided into chambers, with the animal living in the last and largest chamber. The other chambers were used to regulate buoyancy and provided a means of propulsion. Cameroceras likely had well-developed eyes and a complex nervous system, which would have allowed it to navigate its environment and locate prey. Like modern cephalopods, Cameroceras had a keratinous beak capable of biting through the armor of sea scorpions as well as the shells of other orthogones. Cameroceras, as an apex predator, would have seen humans as prey. It could grab a human with its many arms and pull them towards its mouth, where it would have used its beak to take chunks out of them. Modern Humboldt squids are extremely dangerous to humans as they attack and bite repeatedly, causing weirdly shaped scars, or, if you are unlucky enough, death. Cameroceras, while not attacking en masse like Humboldts, would still be lethal to humans due to its large size and muscular strength.
Cameroceras had lots of dangerous qualities designed to kill prey. It takes 4th place, pushing Pteranodon to number 5. Livyatan, Gigantopithecus, and Kaprosuchus still hold positions 1, 2, and 3, respectively. Our 12th creature on the list is a humongous crocodile with a thin snout. Gryposuchus grew 33 feet long and weighed up to 3,800 pounds. It lived 16 to 5.3 million years ago in South America. Gryposuchus resembled a massive gharial. It fed mostly on fish, but also would have incorporated marine mammals into its diet. The type specimen was destroyed in a bombing of Germany in World War II, along with the first Spinosaurus fossils and an ichthyosaur, among many others. The ichthyosaur skeleton was fortunately recently discovered to have been cast in plaster, and now there are multiple copies of it that still exist. Gryposuchus successfully survived for over 10 million years in almost the entirety of the Miocene. This is thought to be partially due to the fact that it was adapted to freshwater. This massive crocodile had a head approximately 5 feet long, however the snout was very thin. It still could have taken on a human though, and I definitely wouldn't advise hanging around a 33-foot long crocodile. Gryposuchus is very large, however its snout was thin and mostly adapted to eating fish. It takes 5th place, pushing Pteranodon to 6th. Our winner of this episode is the whale-eating whale, Livyatan. With a combination of its size, teeth, sociality, battering ram of a head, bone-crunching tail slap, and sonar capable of exploding a human head, it goes on to our finalists.
Contrary to popular belief, Tyrannosaurus rex wouldn't have shook the earth when it walked, like in Jurassic Park. Theropod dinosaurs are digitigrate, meaning they walk on their toes like cats and elephants. Yes, elephants walk on their toes, not flat on their feet like humans and bears. Digitigrate creatures are nearly silent when running, no matter how heavy, unlike that of plantigrade creatures. When an elephant runs on flat ground without any crunchy sticks or leaves underneath its feet, it doesn't make much noise. T-Rex wouldn't have it either. This would have helped it sneak up on its prey rather than scaring it off.
In South Africa's Elliott Formation, paleontologists have discovered a monstrous prosauropod potentially as big as the famous Diplodocus. However, it evidently walked on 2 legs, making it the largest bipedal animal of all time and the largest Triassic animal too. Unfortunately, it's unnamed as of now.
In each episode, we will rank the creatures from 1 to 6 on a scale of how potentially dangerous these creatures would be to humans, and the winner of each episode will showdown with the other 11 finalists in the season finale to decide on which prehistoric creature was the ultimate human killing machine.